Welcome into the Saturday Morning Coaches Show here on Max 98.3. I'm Rusty Nixon, your host, and stay tuned. Just a moment, we'll start our trek through Marshall County, talking to all the football coaches about their matchups last night. We'll talk to Archer Rust, who is this week's recipient of the Tony DeBoss Ross Player of the Week Award, and we'll announce our new Player of the Week coming up at the end of the broadcast, so don't go anywhere until we get there. And stay tuned. It all starts right after this. You're tuned to the Max 98.3 FM Coaches Saturday Morning Show.
Your morning, it deserves more than just coffee. It deserves Big B coffee. From velvety lattes to our famous sweet foam cold brews, every sip is brewed with love, laughter, and a splash of fun. All first responders and veterans receive a free brewed coffee and 20% off their entire order. Students and teachers receive 10% off with a valid school ID. Have the best day ever by stopping in to your family favorite local coffee shop where every cup comes with a smile and every day starts brighter. Stop in today and let's make it a big day. Big B Coffee, have the best day ever, located on Columbus Drive in Plymouth.
Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana. Serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
And we're joined by Andy Dorrel, head coach at the Culver Academy. And I saw the score. It had to be a rough one. But once again, McLaughlin's the real deal. He's a heck of a player.
Yeah, he's a great high school football player, and they do a great job of getting blockers in front of him and going. They're a very physical football team, and really impressed with how they play. Our guys did some nice things last night, just weren't consistent enough. It's been a situation we faced all year that, we take the opening onside kick, we recover it, and 2 plays later we fumble right back to them. They score kickoff to us, we return the kickoff for a touchdown. So it's 8-7, and then we kick off to them. They ended up scoring, and we marched down and score. So again, a number of things there that went well for us early, but just the continued physical battering that we took last night wore us down, and obviously appeared very lopsided in the scoreboard at the end.
I was going to say, we were watching the score from our game as it was going on. It seemed early on it was, a back and forth kind of game. Sounds like what you're talking about right there.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought, we had a shootout with them last year, and we felt it was going to be one of those situations again, but we just could not get a stop on defense. And if your teams are going to run the ball against you, you're not going to have success. And Knox certainly did whatever they wanted running the football against us last night.
What is it that they do that gives people so much trouble? Because it doesn't seem, they don't do anything fancy. Is it the line splits, or, what is it about what they do offensively?
Their linemen are so good about blocking down and using angles to their advantage. They get off the ball low. Then they pull 2 to 3, maybe sometimes even 4 guys at the point of attack. And their line splits are so tight you cannot pursue from behind. You have to take it on, just try and spill. But then the running back does such a nice job of reading his holes and using his blockers. He's a very patient runner, but has the ability to explode on an instant. And that's what makes them so dynamic, is they're so hard to defend because they're physical, aggressive, and they understand their scheme extremely well.
It sounds like you were able to get some things working offensively last night.
Yeah, we were able to throw the ball a little bit. Once again, we had open receivers. We overthrew them. We had open receivers and dropped some passes. I know we dropped at least 2 touchdown passes that we didn't score off of. So a couple things there that we can build off of. Our pass protection was fairly good, which was an improvement that we've had the week before. So I told our guys going in that we're going to be a better football team for playing this game, regardless of the score. And we see how physical we have to play. We understand how we have to execute in key situations. Or other times the team gains advantage, gains momentum, and they're going to obviously have the upper hand.
You've had 3 in a row, 3 tough games. They've all been on the road too, and a little bit younger in some spots. You feel like the reps are going to catch up, and you're going to start, fixing some of those problems.
Yeah, I mean, we had so many kids without Friday night experience on the field the first 3 weeks, and now they do. And as long as we continue to understand the level of tenacity and aggressiveness that's necessary to play this game, and our kids never quit. I mean, they battled, they competed. I never saw any evidence like I don't want to be here or this isn't for me. I mean, the kids are on the sidelines battling, and I really appreciate that. And that gives me, I'm very optimistic about our path forward.
Talk about how you approach this now this week in practice. I mean, this is the kind of thing that, I'm guessing you're going to kind of wonder, how they're going to react to this as in the coming week.
Well, we just talked about, like I said, we're going to get better from this game. And we learned some things about ourselves, learned about how we have to, it comes down to execution and just sheer grit. I mean, we talked a lot about the team, and we were supportive at the end. Whenever you have a loss like this, there's only one thing to do, and that's get better. So we're going to play football on Friday. We get our home opener. We'll have a great week of preparation. I don't doubt that. I know our kids will bounce back, and kids are more resilient than adults, and they'll put this behind them, and we'll play football on Friday.
Well, let's talk about Friday a little bit. You've got another tough squad coming in, Fairfield. They took a tough loss last night at Jimtown. What do you see? I'm sure you haven't had a chance to break them completely down, but what do you see when you look at them?
A lot of what we saw last night, I mean, they're a very physical football team. They run the ball well, so it gives us a chance to build upon some of the mistakes that we made last night, to tackle better, to be more physical up front. And so it's really a good week for us to continue to reinforce the basic skills and techniques that we need to do to become a more effective football team.
How much does it mean being at home, too? I mean, that home opener brings a little bit more pep in the step.
Yeah, it sure does. We'll have a march on. We'll have a good crowd. Kids will be excited to be able to play at home, and we're very fortunate to have a great venue to play, and just looking forward to that opportunity to change, not have to get on a bus for the 4th week in a row. Is just something to look forward to.
Yeah, there's a couple of long bus rides there, too. I mean, actually not terribly long, but anytime you get on a bus, I guess it seems long.
Yeah, it does. It just changes your routine up. So we'll have a little bit different approach this Friday. And like I said, change of scenery and being at home, I think we're going to really look forward to a chance to play better and to recover some of the pride that these guys have been bruised and beat up a little bit.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking the time this morning. I'll let you get back to it, and we'll catch up with you this week.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rusty. Talk soon.
And that's Andy Dorrel, the head coach at Culver Academy. And stay there. We'll be right back.
Who doesn't like pizza, right? But have you tried the pizza at Bourbon Street Pizza lately? More fresh ingredients and a new pizza sauce recipe. It's like a slice of heaven each and every time you take a bite. And now there's 16 new style of pizzas for you to choose from on the menu. And let's not forget the mouth-watering wings or their 5 different pasta dishes to choose from. Bourbon Street Pizza with area locations in Plymouth, Culver, Argus, Walkerton, Napanee, and in Bourbon. If you're looking for a quick and delicious dinner for the entire family to enjoy, look no further than a Bourbon Street Pizza location near you.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Culver's Portside Marina handles all water and recreational needs. When it comes to pontoons, Godfrey leads the industry in performance and quality, and Portside Marina has them in stock. From Sanpan, Aqua Patio, Sweetwater, and Monaco pontoons, if you're looking for a family boat, Culver's Portside Marina can help. Discover the evolution of the wake boat through luxury models offered from Centurion and Supreme Surf Boats. Yamaha Wave Runners and Kawasaki jet skis are on the showroom floor waiting. Located at 514 West Mill Street in Culver. Stop in or call them at 574-842-5000. Culver's Portside Marina.
And joining us in this segment is Austin Foust, the head coach of the Culver Cavaliers, who were on our game of the week last night against Triton. And man, it was a weird score. They scored on the first and the last plays of the game, but I got one name that kept coming up for us was Drake Zorich. I mean, what a night he had for you guys.
Yeah, he did. Drake's just a really good kid, and a kid that just loves football. He works hard at it. He kind of had maybe a rough start to his high school career. His freshman year, broke his collarbone halfway through the season. His sophomore year, kind of coming back from that and kind of figuring it out. But no, I thought the first 3 games so far for Drake, he's done some really nice things for us. We had some personnel things that kind of happened this week, and we had to move some people around, and so we kind of moved Drake out to an outside backer instead of that middle linebacker position. And they really are just gashing us up the middle. So we switched Drake back, and I thought when we kind of settled down a little bit and we started making some plays, and the biggest thing was we just didn't make plays enough consistently. I know the score shows what it does, and Triton did a good job, and their O-line and D-line really controlled the game for them. But I thought we made a lot of plays. We just didn't make the timely plays, or we couldn't just make a play to get off the field, kind of thing. And that obviously is you got to get off the field and get stops when you're on defense, and offensively you got to put the ball in the end zone. And we came up short in that category.
I know, and defensively was the thing. As big as they are and as fast as they are at the point of attack, you knew it was going to be a challenge to slow them down and stop that running game, which is what you got to do against them.
Yeah, the Overmyer kid does a really good job. He's got speed, and he's a big, strong guy too as well. And he just kind of turns it into backyard ball on you a little bit, where they fire out and they get hat on a hat, and then he's just trying to find if he's not afraid to run it up between the tackles, but if he can bounce it, he's going to bounce it. If he can cut back, he's going to cut back. So it puts a lot of pressure on your defense. And last night we didn't do the best at the cutback, and he did a really good job of cutting back on us, and we didn't have guys there to make plays, and then sometimes we were out of position on the tackles. And you can't do that against Overmyer. He's just too good of a running back, and that's the big difference.
And looking at you guys, I mean, Jonas at quarterback, if he'd had enough time to set his feet a couple of times, that score would have been a lot different. He can spin it.
He can. Yeah, he's a talented kid. And yeah, that was the kind of the thing. They again up front they did. They're fast, and they got a lot of mass up there, and they fire off the ball. And yeah, we had guys in his face. We were trying to do some different things and rolling out. They were even. You try to roll out, and you're thinking, okay, this is a chance to kind of help our quarterback out, but they got Overmyer at backside in, and he's screaming down at you if you roll away from him. But yeah, there's a couple times, we had guys wide open and had guys in his face, or he kind of got his arm hit, things like that. But yeah, he's a kid at the quarterback position where we feel really confident with him and his arm, and especially at the 1A level, to have a quarterback that can throw it, that can really help you. We got to continue just kind of bringing along our receiving. Obviously, Caleb is a really good receiver, and he's kind of a marked man out there. Everybody knows where 80 is, and they're pointing him out. And I think Braylon Jackson, he's developing for us, coming along as a sophomore. He's done some nice things. He's had a touchdown in every game for us so far, whether it's been on the ground or through the air. And Scotty Banks, had a couple of nice catches, which is nice to see for Scotty. He's a kid that hasn't played football before, came out his senior year. And, so a lot of this stuff is new and seeing things for the first time. And I thought he's coming along. And then Jordan Green, too, at the other receiver. Got a really nice build, and he's an athletic kid, and he's starting to kind of figure it out too. So, we're hoping that if we can just keep bringing them along and gaining that experience by, week 10, we're hopefully playing our best football, and our passing game, it'll be hard to defend.
Defensively, you got some young guys up front that started. I mean, as the game wore on, they kind of played into the game. The one freshman up front had a nice second half, especially. You got some things to look at that are got to be pleasing. You're seeing some growth.
Yeah, we are. We like our young guys, and when you ask for, the starters, there's one position kind of like on our D line where, I really could have just kind of put the whole D line listed out, because we were going to rotate quite a bit of guys, because we got a lot of D line guys that we like, and whether they're sophomores and freshmen that, we feel like can give us a couple snaps and keep guys fresh. But, freshman Colt Falk has been kind of he's been a starter there on both sides of the ball for us. I thought he's doing some really nice things for us as a freshman. He's making plays in the backfield on Overmyer as a freshman. And our D-line coach, Coach Kling, and Coach Reno, and we have our DC, Coach Dante, and Coach Zehner. They did a good job halftime, really kind of more in the second quarter. Made some adjustments kind of on the fly and did some different things that I hadn't seen. It caused them some havoc, and it caused us to get a couple tackles for losses and things like that. Just the problem was we just couldn't make stuff consistently where we could get off the field. I mean, that's kind of the big thing, and that's what we were kind of telling our guys, after the game, still that consistency we've been preaching, and you're going to see on film just actually how close we are. I mean, we're right there. We just gotta do the things necessary with 11 guys on the field doing their job, and if we can do that, I think that score is a lot closer, and that's going to help us going on for the season if we can do it.
It seems like it was a big play that hurt you last night. I mean, the little gashes weren't that awful. It was just every now and then they'd find something, and there'd be a 60, 70-yard run, and that was that. Kind of like what you're saying, you couldn't get off the field.
Yeah, no, it was. That was the frustrating part. Those big plays. The first play for a touchdown with Overmyer, we had guys there. The way we fit, we came in on the wrong shoulder to come make a play, and we missed the tackle. And then with him being on the opposite shoulder we needed to, there was nobody to kind of close him in there. So that gave him the sideline. Up the sideline he went. And, when you have a kid like Overmyer and you do that kind of stuff to him and miss the tackle, he's up the sideline and going to be gone. And then, other times throughout the night, we just, again, like you said, the big plays, we didn't make a tackle, or we, let them get outside of us when we're supposed to turn it back inside. On their passing touchdown for a bubble, we, run read instead of just reading the bubble, and we don't come down and make a play. And just the little things like that obviously lead for big things. And if we again try to keep telling our kids, we got to make teams earn it. Make them take drives on us, that kind of thing, instead of those one play touchdowns or 2-3 play and they're 60, 70 yard, 40 yard runs, things like that. It's high school football. You're trying to make the offense be consistent and do things against you defensively. And so we got to eliminate those big plays going forward.
You mentioned Falk a little bit earlier, too. He seems like he's going to be that emotional guy you need on that defensive line. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it looked like he was having a good time playing football, and that's infectious.
It is. Drake out there is an emotional guy too, as well, at our inside linebacker position. And the other day in practice, there Drake said something, Colton said something back to kind of Drake, and then it ended up with our DC saying, "Hey guys, just for a second, like Drake, you were exactly like how he was when you were a freshman. Now he's there," and then they both kind of looked at each other and just started laughing, and and there were a lot of similarities between the two with how they play. They play hard. They're very emotional. They get excited. When they make plays or other guys make plays, it is a very nice thing to have. It's very nice that he's a freshman, and then we moved Theron Carrington down to he's been playing kind of an end, but we moved him to a defensive tackle as well, kind of next to Colton. So we have two guys that play hard and are really fast, a little bit smaller type guys that are quick. And you didn't hear Theron's name a lot, and you maybe not have called his name a lot on the radio, but Theron did a really good job of just kind of mucking everything up, taking on multiple guys, and giving our linebackers and safeties chances to make plays. And then you saw our one pass attempt before the before the end of the half that if you leave Theron one-on-one, and especially in a passing situation, he can get back to the quarterback in a hurry. With the sack on Riffle there right before the end of the half.
Yeah, we called Theron's name a couple of times on the radio. My partner's an old lineman, so he sees that line play, and for as undersized as he is, he's that guy with a motor. I didn't get to watch him individually a lot, but he has got to be an absolute horror to block with quickness and speed he's got.
Yeah, that's a weapon that we feel like we have in him for sure, because he's he's small. He 150, 160 pounds maybe, but he's the strongest kid on our team, and probably be the strongest kid on a lot of teams. He's just kind of just one of those kind of freak athletes where pound for pound probably the strongest kid, and just plays with the motor too as well. Like, I don't know if that kid ever gets tired, kind of thing. I mean, he almost sometimes tires you out just how fast and how hard he plays every single time. And there's times in practice we gotta kind of like back him off a little bit here, especially when our young guys are in and he's playing scout D. It's like, all right, back it off here. We're trying to get them to run a play and have some success, because he is a terror up front, and that's something that really so far, a couple coaching staff, we played early on in the week, especially West Central's coach just told me, said, hey, we let Theron know that I'm glad he's a senior and he's graduating, and we don't have to worry about blocking him anymore, because he's he does do a lot of good things, a lot of things for us at that kind of nose tackle position.
And we talked about Drake a little earlier, but there's something else I noticed with him. He seems like that as a junior, that guy that's taking it on his shoulders to keep people focused. I think you could see him on the sideline. He'd be talking to guys, and they'd be sorting some things out, and that's another voice you need in that huddle, along with yours, is a guy that's going to be in there pumping people up and keeping them focused on what's going on.
Yeah, he's we got a really good senior class that that kind of, I would say, maybe more show guys the way, kind of lead by example and things. But Drake's probably the voice on our team. He's probably the guy that's most natural with it. And again, a lot of it comes from he just wants it so bad, and he does a good job of communicating to guys, and making sure, like, hey, it's third down, it's going to be this, or we got to make sure we got to read our keys, or hey, come on, we need you here, kind of thing. And I think he's done a really good job of just kind of just maturing and growing up and learning, sometimes what's the right way to deliver things. It's there's sometimes, again, you get a kid, and you're you're in the moment of the game and the heat of the battle, and I think Drake's done a really good job of kind of figuring out what delivery is best, right, and how to get guys to follow. And we got guys that I think look up to Drake and like Drake, and Drake's another thing too. What helps is Drake didn't miss a single day all summer, so he was here all summer. He works hard in the weight room, and that's another thing too. We kind of try to tell our guys, like, if you're going to lead and want to lead, one of the first best ways to be a leader is be here every single day and work hard. Guys see that, guys are going to respect that and know you're going to be here with them, and they're going to follow. And Drake's done a good job too. Our middle school and our high school kind of practice together really close by. And, Drake's got guys that are in the 8th grade class. You talk to them and, they can't wait to play with Drake Sorge next year, things like that. So, I mean, it's an infectious thing. And, he's a really, really kind of special kid for us.
And that makes a difference in the overall program when you've got that kind of a thing going on.
Yeah, it does. Again, I think you you kind of talked about it at practice when you came out and things like that. The way we kind of practice, there's a lot of good energy, there's a lot of positivity and things. And, I don't know if you could maybe say that for a lot of programs that that maybe hasn't had the success that we've had here, in the last couple of years and things where but our kids are do a good job of kind of flushing things, coming back every week and working hard and like being around each other. And, that's what makes Monday through Thursday practice so fun.
Yeah, that does make a difference. And, I know I was talking with Coach Zehner during the week a little bit, and, it's so cyclical. You guys have had so much success over the years at Culver in football, but like I said, it's cyclical. The number of guys you've got, sometimes if you don't have at least 4 or 5 really good athletes, it's going to be a tough year. And you guys will go a couple of years, maybe not have as much success as you want, and then win a sectional. So, it's been one of those things. And me outside looking in, it looks like that arrow's going up again, and there's going to be a bunch of years of success with some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we feel like the future is bright. We feel like we got a lot of good talent in the young guys. We feel like our senior class current senior class is a great class to kind of get things rolling and setting foundations and getting guys to understand what the standard is. And with the talent we have in our sophomore class, freshman class, and then when you look at kind of some of the things we have in the middle school, we feel like the future is bright as long as we can keep doing the same things with our attitude and positivity and stuff with each other, and then as long as we can keep guys out, that's the big thing too, right? As long as you can keep guys out and number wise, and we think there's a lot of bright things ahead for us at Culver.
Yeah, that's the thing, is keep the numbers out, because sometimes you need 22 guys really to have a good sized football team, and sometimes you don't have 22 boys in the senior class. So it's it's one of those things where the numbers become a thing.
Yeah, no, it becomes a thing big time, and I think we're sitting at like 31 currently right now, and we've kind of told our guys, kind of all spring, getting summer. We thought we could be in the 30s, and we were wanting kind of 35. If you look around at 1A programs, if you're at 35 guys, that's a pretty good thing. And
that is,
and our biggest thing is, and what we're going for is, we're gonna have a JV team, and our guys are gonna play Triton's JV team on Monday, and again, I think that's gonna be a huge thing. That maybe our freshmen and sophomores that haven't got the varsity time, maybe they don't understand now, but it's definitely going to we're going to reap the benefits for it big time.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking the time, and we'll catch up with you this week, and good luck to you as you keep going down the line here.
Yep, we appreciate it. Thanks for all the coverage, Rusty. I really appreciate it.
That's head coach at Culver, Austin Foust, and stay right there. We'll be right back. When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank. We don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927. Looking for a stable career in an industry that doesn't slow down? Hoosier Racing Tire in Plymouth, Indiana is seeking motivated people who believe in quality and want to work in a safe environment. With thorough training provided for all positions, no experience needed. Second, third, and weekend shift production wages start around $20 an hour with potential at $25 an hour within a year. Quarterly bonuses, paid time off, and health insurance benefits that start on day one. Apply online at HoosierTire.com. That's HoosierTire.com. Hoosier Tire is an equal opportunity employer. And we're back. Saturday morning coaches show. Rusty Nixon with Adam Handley here, head coach at Plymouth. And that's got to feel good. I know last year that Northridge game was one you felt got away from you, and this one it didn't.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, majority of these guys were a part of that game last year and remember kind of the sour taste in our mouth after that game. And they were ready to go today. We mixed some things up like we talked this week. We mixed some things up in pregame. We mixed some things up during the week. Some of the coaches just had some different ideas. What was working or what was we were doing wasn't working. So we put our heads together and tried to put something out there. And then the kids responded.
Yeah, it had to be that single wing package I was selling my son to incorporate in your offense. That had to have been the difference this week, right?
Yeah, we dusted off the single wing playbook and just went back to the old school football. I mean, if you watch some of the films, some of our formations probably look single wing, but hey, whatever happens, and when the final score looks good in our favor, I'll do whatever we got to do.
What was working last night offensively? Because it seems like you're able to get some things going.
Yeah, we ran the ball hard. We've had chances and opportunities to run the ball most of the season. Finn had 21 carries, almost 100 yards. Ben had a handful of carries. Fernando had a handful of carries. I mean, we had guys, we had multiple guys with multiple carries, and it wasn't like I said, it wasn't anything like all dropping and saying, holy cow, we ran for 1,000,000 yards, but we just, when we needed to get a couple yards, we were able to do that.
24 points is going to win you a lot of games. So do you feel like you've caught up on the offensive side? I ought to ask how Ben looked too, because I haven't seen him since week 1. How has he matured now over the course of the last couple of games?
Oh man, I mean, we're finishing up stats kind of as we talk right now. Right as of right now, we have Ben for 9 of 11, which again is 2 incomplete passes on a varsity football game is spectacular. And he threw 2 of them, I believe. Two of them were on third down. I mean, we had a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9 that he threw a seam route to Davis Jones, which set us up for the game-winning field goal, and a heck of a catch by Davis. I mean, absolutely just a fantastic football play. And then the drive prior where we scored to get 21, he threw a corner route to Fernando. Just a perfect football, So I think he has a little confidence in himself right now, and we didn't ask him to throw the deep ball all night, but when he had to, he was able to execute that.
Well, when your running game's working, he doesn't have to carry the load. I mean, just hand it to Finn or somebody else.
Exactly, and that's why I think the passing game was as open as it was. I mean, they were bringing more bodies down to the box a little bit with the opportunity, because we were having some success running the ball, and a couple third down passes that we knew we needed to get a first down. He stuck to his read and knew what route he was going to get, and made some good throws.
There was just no question how good he was going to be. He throws such a good ball. He can really throw the football.
Yeah, and that's what we loved about him, right? All summer we knew he was going to be able to throw it. He has that baseball arm where it's a pretty quick release, and when he's playing freshman football for us and JV football last year for us, we liked his ability to throw the ball. So we knew it was in him, right? And same thing with the offense. So we knew the offense had the ability to do it. We just hadn't seen their full potential yet.
Well, it feels like now as you're going into week 4, though, you've had all those reps. And, you and I talked earlier in the year. You had a lot of guys that had played football, but not a lot of them on Friday night either. And that's got to be, helping that now you're in week 4 and they've been out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think varsity experience goes a long way. The lights aren't too big for them, and when you have the ability to get those varsity snaps under your belt, it just kind of gives them a little bit more of calmness at ease. With the mindset of I can do this and I can play out here, and he definitely looked 10 times calmer last night, even in a crazy back and forth game. I felt like he really had some really good composure last night.
You guys seem to have back and forth games with them all the time. The last 3 of them have been kind of like that, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we were looking this morning. I think the last time we beat them at Ridge was all the way back in 2014. Is where the last 2014, 2015 year. So it's a tough place to play. I mean, they create a fantastic atmosphere, and they have, the crowd and the music and everything is just absolutely screaming. And our kids responded. I mean, they got the ball to start the game, and our defense got to stop. I think the first drive of the game, again, I don't have it all written down, but it felt like it was a back and forth game. I mean, it was 14-all at halftime. They scored in the third to go at 21-14. We responded, tied at 21, and then we drove down the field again with that Davis Jones catch to go down and kick an 18-yard field goal to win it.
Has Carlos gotten a little guy number yet? I'll lobby for that till the end of time. If he's gonna kick, he's got to have a little guy number.
Well, unfortunately, Carlos wasn't even padded up last night.
Oh, really?
Carlos was in his street clothes. He went down this week with a knee injury, and that's what makes it even more special. I think is kind of that next man up mentality, right? Don Vasquez, who he had been doing some kicking for our JV last year, and he was like, "Coach, I can kick." And we're like, you know what? All we need to do is PAT. We're not going to kick any field goals down. Just give us a PAT, give us the automatic point. And he was 3 for 3 on PATs. We're like, heck yeah. And then we get down to the end and the ball's on the 1-yard line. It's 4th down. And of course, myself was like, we got to get this. We just got to run the ball. Like, we're not kicking a field goal. And offensive staff talked me into, let's just take the points. And we did. So it made them look really, or made me look good because they made the right decision. That's for sure.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit too, because Carlos is one of your tackles. I mean, that you got to feel good about your offensive line that was able to respond to that.
Well, we had two changes on the offensive line. J.K. Oliveras got the start at right guard, and John Kleinden's got the start at center. And I think there was just a little bit of I know John's one of your favorites.
John's absolutely my guy.
Yeah, so we brought him over to center on the offense, and we said, "Hey, John, like this is what we need out of you tonight." And he was able to just be nasty, right, and do his normal thing he does on defense on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's kind of what our offensive line was missing, was just a little bit of that John Kleinden's, right, like a little bit of the attitude, because that's what we needed, right. And when it was 4th and 1, I think Coach Garrity and I were just talking before we got on the air. I think we had 4 or 3 4th downs that we converted, all with QB sneak. And that's just a John Kleinden's, right? Like, John walked over to Coach Garrity multiple times, like, run behind me, and that's what you need. You need that guy that's going to be able to do that. Because again, when you need a yard, you got to be able to find that guy that's going to tell you, I'll get the yard for you, Coach.
So did you go under center for the sneak?
We did go under center, I think, both 3 times. And the very first one, we bobbled the snap and fumbled the snap and almost lost the ball. And we all kind of panicked and we're like, okay. And then the next 2 were a lot more smooth. And actually, I think we got one of them. We got 3 or 4 yards on QB sneak, and I was like, hey, that's how it's done right there.
If you're going under center, you're going to make Joe McKee one of the happiest men who's ever lived. He loves that play. He loves that play with a quarterback under center on short yardage.
It is, right, and I know that's not our version of our offense, but again, when you need a yard, and it's just something we got to continue to practice, right? I think everybody everybody's getting this film now, so we've got to be able to have some wrinkles. But also, I mean, look at the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Everybody in the world knows they're going to run the ball with Jalen Hurts and QB sneak, and it's still tough to stop. It really is. So I think we're going to probably put some wrinkles in just to maybe attempt to throw some people off, because we've definitely had some success with it the last couple of weeks.
You know, and I think the underrated part of that play, even with the Eagles, was Kelsey, the center.
Sure.
That center is the key part of that sneak.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why, like I said, multiple times, John just looked back at Coach Garrity and Ben and said, "Follow me. We'll get the first down."
Talk about your defense. Talk about your defense a little bit here as we move on. I mean, they gave up 21, but it sounds like you had some different personnel out there.
Yeah. So obviously, we knew, right? We knew without John, we knew with John playing center, he was going to use a lot of his energy, right?
Yeah.
And that's John is a high energy guy, and him playing every single snap of center and nose it wasn't attainable, right? We knew that. So there were some plays where we definitely missed him on defense. They were able to run the ball up the middle, pretty decent, and it definitely hurt us. But I think we knew we had 4 total D linemen, so we were able to play Birchmeyer, Don Vasquez, and Kendall Haynes on our D line, and so we were okay still. We weren't the cover wasn't there. We weren't playing some random JV kid that never played football before. All those guys have been getting reps all week with the anticipation potentially John would play some offense too. So I think it's just going to continue. Those 3 are going to continue to get more reps, and John, John wants to play D line, right? Like that's who John is.
Yeah.
And I told him after the game, I said, hey, because he multiple times, hey, can I go in? Can I go in? Maybe, just hold on, right? And so I think that's something kind of this week, and obviously as long as he's playing center, that he's going to have to continue to maybe work a little bit harder on his conditioning, because he might have to play some more D line. We come play the Warsaws, the Walwasees, things like that. John might have to be out there a little bit more. So our challenge to him the next couple of weeks is to work on his conditioning and get in better shape, that he has the ability to do that.
Well, at least you get to come home after a couple of weeks on the road this week. You got Goshen. Talk about them a little bit. I'm sure you haven't had a chance to break them completely down, but what have you seen initially?
Yeah, we've seen some stuff, here and there with them a little bit. They got the same record as us. They beat Southland Washington, lost to Fairfield and Warsaw, obviously. But the Warsaw score was, I believe, 34-0 at half last night. So, I mean, it wasn't a, abomination for them. I mean, they were in the game. I think the final score was 37-7. I don't know what point if they got to a running clock or what, but either way, they're improved. I mean, this is year 2 with Coach Oklinski, and their quarterback, I think this is his 3rd year starting. I believe he started as a freshman, and now he's a junior. So he has obviously got plenty of varsity experience under his belt, and they've got some athletes. Just a couple clips we've seen of them so far. They're going to try to run a very similar offense to Ridge and us, and try to spread you out a little bit, and I'll be able to try to run the ball and get the ball to their athletes.
Well, man, have a good week of practice and get another win, and we'll catch up with you this week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rusty.
That is Adam Handley, the head football coach at Plymouth, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student-athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website, at marion.edu/Ancilla today.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
And stepping in with us here at halftime, Mike Zehner is the athletic director at Culver High School. And man, I've taken some time this year on our Game of the Week to talk with the ADs about some of the other sports that go on that don't get the attention football does usually. And I got to say, at Culver, I'm always amazed every year that you're able to field a full volleyball team and soccer team for girls, and even more amazing, a full football team and soccer team for boys. I mean, does everybody at Culver play a fall sport? I mean, that's a lot of folks.
It seems like it sometimes, but we want to provide opportunities for each and every kid, no matter what their interest level is. Obviously, sports are demanding, but I feel like it shapes each individual kid into, a great adult and family member, contributing member of society. So it's crucial for everybody's development and the role athletics plays. And if you look at our teams, volleyball is coming off of a semi-state appearance last year, graduated some seniors, but got some really good youth. Got 2 seniors led by Hayden Lute and Gracie Milam on the team. Coach Barrett does a great job with those ladies. AJ Neese is our girls soccer coach, and I believe they're undefeated. They got a big game tomorrow against Argus here at the Culver. So we've got a boys-girls doubleheader for soccer at 10 a.m. and then noon start. So immediately following. So that'll be a big game, conference matchup, and then obviously the Argus-Culver rivalry as well. And then, Mike Bushman's coaching our boys soccer team, and he's also our wrestling coach. So we ask a lot of our coaches and our players, our athletes. We got a ton of multi-sport athletes. The guys you've been mentioning tonight on the air for football are a lot of the guys you'll see on the hardwood or the wrestling mat in the winter, and then obviously on the ball diamond or track in the spring. So a lot of 3-sport athletes, but with the size of our school, like you talked about, it's crucial to have maximum participation. We also have a cross-country team. It's pretty small, but Deanna Carr's doing a great job with that. She's really building up from the middle school level. And then we also have girls golf, who Madison Beach is our senior there, and Dan Lowry is our coach for them as well.
And once again, the amount of people that's necessary, not only have you got full teams, but they're competitive with everybody. I mean, just for example, with football and boys soccer, if you don't have 20 guys, at least 20 guys on both of those teams, it's very tough. And, 40 guys is a lot of guys at a school your size.
Yeah, and honestly, we have probably the best numbers we've had in football in a while. Like, we got a full JV football team as well. So we're sitting at about 33, 34 guys, I think, on the football team. Soccer doesn't have quite as many this year, and it goes in cycles. There's going to be years that we have more soccer players than football players, or vice versa. And I think we're sitting about 12 or 13 for soccer. So you play 11. Those guys are playing some Ironman soccer, and they do a good job. Those guys have improved tremendously since last year, and got a win last week over Granger Christian, and so I'm looking for big things from those guys.
You mentioned your volleyball team a little bit earlier and the success they had a year ago. I mean, that's a program that is really going well for you guys, and you've got a couple of girls that are now playing college volleyball. I mean, it just seems like that program is moving really, really forward.
Yeah, Coach Barron's, she's done a nice job really starting them young and building them up. And as you know, it's crucial to get them at the youth and get those fundamentals set and down. And then the amount of girls that do some off-season stuff as well. I know her 2 daughters. Ashlyn's a sophomore this year. Bryn was a senior last year, and then she's playing down at IUK. I know Meredith Gordon's playing as well. So yeah, definitely lost a lot of talent from last year's group. But I feel like the sophomore group, and then along with the juniors and seniors sprinkled in, like they're still a solid team, and not an easy out. That experience those girls got last year on that semi-state run was, that's crucial, and they know what the bar is. It's been set high by those that last year's senior group, and I think these girls will carry the torch well for them.
I think you hosted a cross-country event, too, about a week and a half ago? And I like the fact that sport, you want to field a full team, but you don't have to field a full team in order to give the people that want to do that a chance to do it competitively.
Yeah, we haven't had, I think that was the first cross-country event we've hosted since I've been here, and maybe since I was in high school, to tell you the truth. We haven't had that many, that interest, and Coach Carr's done a nice job, building that interest up. And she came to me last spring. He's like, hey, any way we can host an invitational? And yes, definitely, so try to get the ball rolling, and we'd like to add more teams each and every year. But Triton was there. They've done a nice job with their cross-country program, and I know they won the girls, and I think the middle school ones, the teams as well. So hats off to those guys. And, they always do such a good job. And cross-country is such a different sport for me. I was the contact sport, and it's just crazy to see everybody cheering for everybody, and swim's kind of like that too. But, we don't get that much in football for cheering for the other team, unless somebody's injured or something like that. So it was a different atmosphere for me, but I enjoyed it. It was very welcoming. I think everybody had a great experience that day.
Yeah, there's something foreign about going out and running 3 miles willingly that has always been strange to me. But,
at least we're on radio, and you don't see the size of Mike Zehner. But, you don't see me running around 3 miles any day. If you see me running, you better run too, because something's wrong is happening.
Yeah, I know. My nephew was a track cross-country guy, and he would go out and run for fun. And I said, that can't be fun. That fun and run is not in my vocabulary. But those guys love it, and girls love it. And the thing is, it's something they'll be able to do for the rest of their lives.
Yep, no doubt. It's a lifelong sport and activity, and they always talk about that when I was in college. I was a PE major, and they talk about lifelong activities. Running's one of them. Golf's one of them. And I think I prefer golf over running. I'm no better at golf than I am running, though. So,
talk about your golf team a little bit. How many girls do you have? Is it just the one girl, or and once again?
We have 3. Yeah, we have 3 this year. Madison Beach is returning from last year. The other 2 are first year girls, but Dan Lowry's done a nice job with them. Dan's just such a soft-spoken guy that knows a lot about the sport, and has a lot of patience and does a really good job with our golfers. Been very happy to have him on staff, and Josh Pugh's been he kind of took over for Josh a couple of years ago, but Josh also helps out when needed, and he's our assistant principal. And if I need somebody to supervise soccer or cross country or whatever, he'll jump in and help me as well. But I expect big things from Madison this year. She's a senior. She also wrestles. She also swims. I'm trying to think what she did. I think she did track in the spring. So she's another 3 or 4 sport athlete that helps Culver run.
Let's talk about your football team a little bit.
Win column sometimes doesn't show how much effort and those guys are in all summer and everything they've done, but it's going to start showing up here soon.
That's the one thing in football, I think, in particular. I mean, I've always kind of honestly thought of Culver as a football school. But, I mean, a school that size, it's cyclical. I mean, you only have so many kids in a particular class, and if not all of them, I mean, if they don't all have great talent, sometimes it's a little bit of a tough season. But, it always comes around. It seems like it's coming around again. I mean, you guys have been there in the past and had a lot of success, and it seems like it's going to be soon here, and you're going to have it again.
Yeah, and we got a good freshman group. I've been having the opportunity to coach those guys in middle school. My son's in that group. I got a nephew that's in that group. But those kids have really bought into what we've done and what we've built. And, this will be the first year we've had a JV team in a long time and play a full JV season. I don't know if that's happened since I've been here. I think this is going on year 10. We've played some JV games sprinkled in here and there, but injuries at the varsity level dictate how many JV games we can play. And knock on wood, we get to play a full season of JV this year for those young guys and help their development. And I told those guys last week that us having a JV program is it's huge for our program going forward as a varsity program. So what they do on Saturdays and Mondays, are going to carry over to Fridays here in a year or two.
Yeah, I talked with Coach Foust about that a couple of weeks ago. You want to give young guys bites they can chew, and sometimes that's not on Friday night. They got to, face guys their own age and their own experience level to gain that confidence to go to the next level.
Well, and that's the thing. Like the last few years, we've had to throw those freshmen and sophomores in that maybe weren't ready for a Friday night.
Yeah.
And, throw them out there against a state runner-up North Judson team or some of the teams that we face. We face really good competition. The HNAC's a great conference. It's a great conference for smaller schools, and the success that teams have had in the conference. I forget how many state championships we've had come out of this conference, and it's been a lot of them in various sports. So really proud of our conference. They did a great job organizing that. And, but again, we don't want to throw 14, 15-year-old boys out to play against men that, might be 18, 19 or shaven and probably have more facial hair than me.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time, spending a few minutes with us here. And I'm sure we'll run into each other as we go down the road, and good luck to you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out, and obviously all the support and coverage you provide for Culver and all the area schools.
It's Mike Zehner, the athletic director at Culver, and stay there.
At Marshall County REMC, they are more than just your electric provider. They're your neighbors, your partners, and your connection to a brighter future. Since 1936, they have been powering homes, farms, and businesses with reliable service, innovative energy solutions, and a commitment to our community that never wavers. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about keeping our community strong. Marshall County REMC, powering progress, powering you. Learn more at marshallremc.com.
McDonald's restaurants in Plymouth and Bremen, Indiana are now owned and operated by local residents Bill and Flo Bolt. Bolt Enterprises are proud to own and operate all 4 McDonald's restaurants in Marshall County. Become part of the McDonald's family today with Bolt Enterprises McDonald's.
And Jeff Kaiser, head coach at LaVille, joins us in this section of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Got to be a little pep in your step this morning. You got a win last night. That was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get a win, moving into a Saturday and starting a new week's always a good thing. But there were some things we weren't pleased with. But at the end of the day, we look at the scoreboards, 42-9. So boys did more right than they did wrong. We made some adjustments and kind of extended that game the second half. I mean, it was a 14-9 game at half, and needless to say, we're not pleased, and I'm surprised I have a voice left.
Yeah, I noticed that too. We were watching that score as our game was going on, and they had you for a little bit, but you were able to right the ship and get it going, and 42 points is nothing to laugh at.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is and what the frustrating part was, we the guys understood the schemes. They're getting in positions to make the plays, and they're there to make the plays. They just weren't finishing. And I'm talking on the offensive side, with sustaining blocks and our backs making the right cuts and making the reads, the quarterback settling down, reading his progression. And then defensively, our secondary is rotating and we're there to make plays, and we're just not finishing them. And that's what was most frustrating. We're in position to really dominate a team and excel at the schemes on both sides, and we just weren't doing it the first 24 minutes. And we got up 14 points on right away, and then we kind of went stale, and you got a team that came in struggling, and when they find success, they start making those hustle plays and playing a little faster and believing what they're doing. And I felt like we started playing kind of deer in headlights, like, we can't lose this game type thing. And, it's scary. I mean, it really is, because, we're this early in the season, and Central Noble started finding success, and they were believing going into halftime, and, they were getting the ball. And so we knew we had to get a stop. We did. We got a pick right away. And I mean, it was two different teams for LaVille, from the first half, second half. And, overall, I'm pleased with the way the guys responded. And like I said, we did quite a bit of right, but we did little things that, moving forward, you do those against any opponent we have left, and we're in trouble.
That is the hardest thing to figure out as to why a team does that. Just goes flat for a period of time. And, I understand what you're saying. That is enormously frustrating for you.
Yeah, it is. Especially, being flat is one thing, but not fully executing the plays. And you're there and just finish it. I mean, there was some plays, Rusty, I kid you not, it was almost slow motion. You're watching it, and it's like, okay, we're there. And it's like, they just made a play. And we have bodies there, right? And it's like, hey, go on it. We're better than this, and that's the thing, But like I said, I'm proud of the guys. They responded. They left no doubt on the field last night, and that's what we got to do. And, some of the positive things we had, very much so, is, each red zone possession we had, we put points on the board, and that's something we've concentrated on and made sure that you get there, let's finish drives. And, defense, we put ourselves in position, some great field position in the second half. And Coach Rosen does a really nice job with the offense and had a great scheme and plan. And, sometimes we got to go to plan B a little bit as far as, okay, we're not to throw the ball a little more than we wanted to coming in. But, we have the skilled guys that can do that, and Coach Rose knows that. And Braden Schwitz, it's only his third start at quarterback. And, he settled in a little bit last night. And week prior, he gave up 4 interceptions. And that's tough. I mean, that's really tough. And, he come out last night, he had four touchdown passes. He threw a pick, it got tipped at the line, and the middle linebacker made a great play and snagged it. But, Schwitz, when he follows his progression, does a really nice job. And we've talked to him about getting his legs going, and he did last night. He ran the boot really well, and, he got a nice touchdown run, and so, like, he's definitely a dual threat. So pleased with his progression last night. I mean, he was 12 for 19, 149 yards, 4 touchdowns. So not a bad night, by no means. And the thing that's great is we have skilled guys that every one of them can make a play. And we have 5 guys that received the ball last night, and I'm not sure how many 1A programs have 5 guys that can contribute solidly on the offensive side. And we have that. And again, our OC does a great job distributing that ball and keeping guys involved.
It's got to make you happy to see Brain have that kind of a game too, because after a 4 interception game, a guy can get gun shy and just not want to pull the trigger anymore. And obviously that didn't happen.
Oh, 100%, Rusty. That's concerning. Like I said, it's, he's a senior. He's been on the field on Friday nights, but he hasn't directed the offense. And,
right.
and to throw those 4 picks and daggone, coaches aren't happy with me. You're right. And we didn't hound him on that. We know. I mean, no, there's no kid that goes out there and, wants to miss a tackle, wants to miss the block, right? Wants to throw the interceptions, wants to fumble the ball. And if you hound the kids, they'll shut down on you, about those little things. I mean, there's no kid that wants to go out there and fail per se. And we know that. And just like coaches, we don't go out and coach to fail. And so, we didn't dwell on it. We just said, you settle in. And he did. And early on, he forced a couple things, and, we're just like, settle back down. You're all right. And he started playing ball. And so I was real pleased the way he responded from week 2 to week 3.
You could probably say that of any position. I mean, quarterback is what I'm thinking of in particular, but you got to have a short memory. Something bad happens, they're coming back to you, man. So you better be ready the next time. And that, that short memory goes a long way to making a good athlete. You can't be afraid of failure.
Yeah, and that's the thing, especially dealing with 15 to 18-year-old kids. That's the biggest fear of them is failure. And so, we try staying positive, and I tell them and tell the coaches, I make mistakes. I'm going to make the wrong play call, right? I'm going to put a guy in the wrong position. I'll admit it, but I'm not doing it on purpose, and I'm not going to do it again, right? So, and that's what our whole coaching staff does for these kids, and they know failure does happen, but learn from it and let's go. And so, I thought the guys, for the most part, when things were kind of like, oh, what's going on here in the first half, they locked in, and like I said, a nice little halftime speech, and guys responded very well. It was a different team, and I think that everybody who was witnessing the game was like, that's how this team can play, and that's like I said, that's what the strive point is you can hound the guys and motivate them because we're better than what we were playing. So
You got to be happy with your defense too, and I harp on this. I know whenever I talk LaVille football, because defense is always what I remember you guys hanging your hat on. But you played 3 games and you've given up 30 points, 10 points a game. If the season ends that way, you're going to be happy. I have to believe.
Well, yeah, absolutely, especially with what we have right around the corner with the conference play starting. And Rusty, we were the worst defense in the conference last year, so the challenge is out there, right? But yeah, we've done things up to this point defensively. We focused on some details, all summer long, and it continues going on. And we have many guys contributing to tackles and making plays, and we're more of a balanced defense, I feel, so far to this point this year, which is great. But we needed to get the defense back on track. And, me being the DC, I almost thought I had to fire myself because it was rough last season, but this season here so far, we've played well. And the biggest thing is I think the 11 guys on the field, they understand, the scheme. They understand assignment. And that's what I'm saying last night was frustrating early on because we were there to make the play. We just didn't do it. And when I'm saying they're aggressive, I'm standing right next to the guy. I am not exaggerating. Standing right next to the DB, standing right, or not standing, but hustling over right next to the receiver, who watches the receiver catch the ball. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? So, that's the big difference this year. I think the guys understand the scheme. I got a really smart bunch of kids that know and make adjustments. And coach, we can't do that because of this, and we did it at practice. And you guys are exactly right. Coach is wrong. Okay, we'll shore that up. I won't call that again, and that starts, through the week. And so, but yeah, that Central runs a spread offense. And I had a D tackle at 7 tackles for loss last night. He's a sophomore. Keenan Richard played his tail off last night. He had, 7 tackles for loss, fumble recovery. He was a beast, and that's him. And we're trying to get that out of him. Because he's a freak. He is a kid that just, man, when he gets angry, look out. It's like, he gonna play. We got to get him to play that way consistently up front. So he stood out last night on the D line, and then Connor Amore, he's a safety, and he had like 11 tackles, I think, and I think he gonna get in a pick, and he played really well, rotating around, and I can name off numerous guys. Noah Menace, he ran our defense last night. We set Braden Foster out. Coach, we made a decision not to play him last night, and he'll be back next week. But Noah Menace is a junior. We moved him to middle linebacker this year. He directed that defense very, very well. So I was pleased with that. Is he's maturing, and when you have your defensive leader that's out, we got a guy that'll step up and take those reins. I was very pleased with that. We moved Cade Hernandez back to middle linebacker, and he had double-digit tackles last night, had an interception. That's what I'm talking about. When guys understand the scheme, they're understanding multiple positions. And that's huge, and that's something we've lacked on the defensive side. So, we're going to keep drilling them and making sure they understand, what we need scheme-wise, so they can play fast and aggressive and get to the football.
Well, how do you feel about where you're at? You're 3 games in now, and like you said, conference season starts here. And how do you feel about where you are?
We're 2-1. And we're 7 points from being 3-0. There's a lot of things that we definitely need to clean up, but we're a game better than we were last year. Getting into conference play, it's no secret that the grind starts, and I think our guys are ready for the challenge. And what I like is the way we respond when we do have adversity, or we are flat. The guys have responded each time it's happened. It's just we've got to eliminate that and just play. Our old line needs to shore up a little more. That's a concern. We need to get the rushing game going. But those are things that we know we have the pieces to do it. We got Cole Stafford back last night, ran 42 yards, touchdown. So we know the pieces are there, Rusty. It's just we got to be consistent with what we're doing. But to sit here and tell you, like, man, I don't know what we're going to do the rest of the year, I'd be lying to you. We know what we're going to do, and we just we just got to make sure we execute on all cylinders, because, like I said, this conference is a grind. It's fun, and the big picture is it prepares us for potentially getting some hardware. So we just gotta lock in and continue getting better every day.
I got to feel like those first 3 games, it was a chance for you to, and every team, especially the first couple of weeks, trying to answer those questions. I mean, you think you have an idea who the parts are and where the parts go, but then when it starts Friday night and the lights are on and the speed is up, sometimes those ideas change. I'm getting a feeling you feel pretty good about where you've got guys and where you're going with them.
Yeah, I mean, our guys play hard, play aggressive, and we teach. You got to know multiple positions. We're a 1A program. It's no secret. You just don't have a ton of depth, but not only be able to play it but understand it. And I think we have guys that can play. I mean, we have multiple guys that can play multiple positions in blink of an eye, and they know that. We're not asking them to play out of position by no means. And so, I'm pleased to know that we kind of have some inner depth just by moving a guy here and there when we need to. And, we proved that again last night when we had one of our, senior captains out. And so, and we knew that all week. We did. We knew it all week. And so we were able to prepare, but the guys aren't, the guys we moved around weren't deer in headlights. So we just got to continue getting better and take care of things on Friday nights.
Well, and take care of things on Friday night this week is going to be. You got such an easy start to your conference. You get at least you get to host Bremen, but this year in year out, it's a war.
Yeah, got to watch some good film last night on Bremen, and they're watching from their Triton film to their Boone Grove film last night. Was 2 different teams. Coach Bogunia and the staff, I got, Coach Bogunia and I are really, really close friends, and got a ton of respect for him. And I know he's doing things over there to get those boys better. And this is a game that, whether I'm coaching them or he's coaching their team, it's a rival, and everybody knows that. And it's always a great atmosphere. And there's things that I know he's going to try doing, and there's things he knows we're going to try doing. And at the end of the day, we just hope the kids execute and let the pieces fall where they may. But, Bremen's record is definitely deceiving. I mean, they had some tough opponents, and last night they rolled. And so, just tells us that they're for sure a team that you better not peek past them, because they're going to beat you.
And haven't seen them play, I would imagine that for a defensive coordinator or, you, preparing for that, their offense has got to be difficult, because they've got 2 completely different packages, and which one they come out in, they do 2 completely different things. They got that heavy running package. They got the spread. I mean, that's got to be hard to maybe roll that dice and figure out what you're going to defend.
Yeah. I mean, well, at the end of the day, it's you got to stop the run.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That's been Coach Bogunia for 20 some years he's been coaching. I mean, you guys stop the run, but yeah, he runs a heavy right. He'll go heavy left. He'll slide one of those guys over to get an unbalanced look. He'll go no tight end. On the line. He's going 6 linemen. You look at it and he's got 6 linemen out there. So he mixes it up well. With what he's doing in the run game, and then we're going to have to force him to pass the ball. Got to stop that run. I mean, he's got two big running backs back there, and he's got the Parrish kid that, he showed his speed last night on film. I seen that. So when they look fast on film, they're fast in person. And, then back on the defensive side, Jankowski's doing a great job with that defense. And he's got two middle backers that are big, aggressive, and then he's got some speed to the edge. And I mean, they're like I said, they're throw records away. I mean, this is conference play. This is a rival game. And, we got a really good week of practice, preparation. And again, have the defense understand the scheme, and offense has got to fire on all cylinders to get the win.
Well, you will be our game of the week this week too, and going to be up there at your place at LaVille and Bremen, and so it'll be good to meet up with you guys again. And we'll have your game on Friday night, and I'll get a hold of you this week, and we'll talk a little bit more.
Sounds great, Rusty. Appreciate what you guys do. Look forward to hosting you guys.
That is head coach Jeff Kaiser of LaVille, and stay there. We'll be right back.
Your morning, it deserves more than just coffee. It deserves Big B coffee. From velvety lattes to our famous sweet foam cold brews, every sip is brewed with love, laughter, and a splash of fun. All first responders and veterans receive a free brewed coffee and 20% off their entire order. Students and teachers receive 10% off with a valid school ID. Have the best day ever by stopping in to your family favorite local coffee shop where every cup comes with a smile and every day starts brighter. Stop in today and let's make it a big day. Big B Coffee, have the best day ever, located on Columbus Drive in Plymouth.
Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana, serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
And we're back. Justin Bogunia, head football coach at Bremen. Were your ears burning? I had Jeff Kaiser on just a second ago. We were talking about you.
Yeah. No, all good, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was. If not, there's a tape. If you want that, we can send it to you.
All right, I need proof.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. Boone Grove, though, you got some proof last night. That was a nice win for you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely a much-needed win. If not for anything, just to kind of reassure the guys of what we're doing and build confidence amongst the team. I thought the guys did a good job being focused and being prepared and kind of flowing that out onto the football field last night.
39 points on the board. That's a lot of points, especially after struggling a little bit the first 2 weeks. Do you feel like your offense is starting to get the hang of it?
Yeah, we talked about at least a little bit more of our. We're getting a little bit more of our. I talked, I think, last week about getting an identity or establish an identity on offense. I think that's starting to rise to the top there, and then the guys. Even myself as a play caller, right? What we can and can't do, and then the kids also executing the plays and the plan that was set in motion.
And it is a little bit different from what they were doing a year ago too. So there's that learning curve, I would imagine, is they get used to what you want and the way you want it done, and it has to feel like you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. There were a lot of good things that happened last night. Starting to see the line fire off the ball a little bit more. The backs running downhill and really aggressively pressing what I call like the bubble that the line creates when they get that push, and you press the bubble and then bounce off from there instead of looking to cut or run around the whole kind of fool's gold on the outside. It always looks good, but on the varsity football field, that pursuit usually gets to you before you get those good yards.
How do you feel about your running backs? I mean, you've got a whole core of them. Some guys are faster than others. Some guys more power runners. I mean, have you got anybody that maybe in your mind is stepping up that's going to get a bulk of the carries, or are you going to continue to spread it around? I mean, what do you see?
Well, definitely last night, if you look at the stats, I think Mosier's kind of proved himself to be that power runner, and Parrish is kind of the little shifty speedster. So they haven't done anything last night that wouldn't give them less carries, that's for sure. So we'll definitely have a rotation back there, and then Miller's really kind of the mainstay there at fullback. He's kind of more of your meat and potatoes guy. He's going to grind it out. He's going to do all the hard work, right, with no glory, but definitely a big key to what we do.
I was going to say Parrish may be the speed guy, but the time I saw him play, he can stick his foot in the ground and go forward too.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the improvements that he made last night. We've been really working hard on it. He's been working on it too, and I think a little bit of that is the transition from receiver to running back. When you get that ball, it's a little bit different running skill, and so a little bit of the shifty, try to make one guy miss. I get it, right? The moves and the cuts that you're going to do on the outside, but when you're back there in the backfield, you don't really have a lot of time to be doing that stuff. So he's really concentrated on that, and that's really promising and good to see, right? Anytime a kid applies, I guess, what he's been taught on the football field during the game is always, as a coach, makes you proud and excited for the kid.
And I know your offensive line. I mean, we talked about them, and I'm assuming, based on what you said a little earlier, you're happy with where they're moving as well.
Yes, I thought last week, like I said, that was kind of one of the positives coming off a loss, if there are any. We felt like we had really good push on our strong side of the line, and so obviously last night you don't rush for that many yards without having some good offensive line performance, and it's echoed all year. It'll be the same guys that we talk about week after week. It's Freddie, it's Louis, it's last night was Marsh. He's a senior, making his first start at center. So we're really happy to see what he was able to do on the field last night.
Your defense, though, again, and once again, I've seen them play once. A week ago at Triton, just really two special teams plays was the difference in that game, and your defense basically threw a shutout. Last night they do. I mean, you got to feel really good about where they're at.
Yes, I do. Again, like you said, when you look at the stats and you look at the game, 2 weeks in a row now, really, for the defense with the shutouts. So we are excited about that side of the ball. What they're able to do. Coach Jankowski has done a good job working with those guys, and they've really taken to his scheme and his approach on the defensive side, and it's carried over to Friday nights. I think that that's you're right, two very solid performances on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Coach Jankowski's been at it for a couple of years. He kind of knows what he's doing.
Yes, he has. We've been together for a long time. You talk about it is nice, right? It's a good luxury to have having somebody, a coordinator or assistant coach that you've been with a long time, or that has been doing it for a long time, that you really trust and can let them do their thing.
Yeah.
And he's definitely a proven coach, that's for sure. He's got tons of accolades.
Yeah, and that once again, that's something that you don't have to worry about, as you said. But if I'm a young player and I got a guy who's been through those wars, and you know what he's done before, I kind of listen real closely when he's talking to me.
Oh yeah, I mean, with his pedigree, and not only that, but at Bremen.
Yeah, exactly.
they can't. Marty Huber's maybe the only one that's got more than Jeff Jankowski. So, those guys started off together. So you can't really question what that guy says.
Let's talk about this week coming up. You're at LaVille, and like I was talking with Jeff earlier. What a weak way to start your conference with a complete. I'm joking. This is going to be a war. It's going to be a war on Friday night.
Yeah, and then two teams that know each other very well, right? And then we're, boundaries maybe 5 minutes apart, school boundaries. From the schools, right? You can drive 5 minutes from LaVille and you're in Bremen, 5 minutes from Bremen and you're in LaVille. So our kids, there's relationships there, right? Families, friendships. And so you put that into the mix as well. And then I think the teams where they're at, I think hopefully on our end, at least we got it going in the right direction. We'll put a good product on the field on Friday nights that's competitive and we get that battle. I know they're not going to let up. That's for sure.
And it is at their home place too. And that's, it's always tough to go on the road and win a game, especially a rival game.
Yep. Oh yeah. That crowd is a plus. Hopefully we travel well since you'd imagine since it's that close that our crowd will be there as well. So it should be a fun atmosphere. And as a player, what better situation to play in, right? We always, everybody wants to be in front of the big crowd and in the big game, competitively, school-wise, proximity-wise. I can't think of anything else that would get our kids hyped up or their kids hyped up for this football game.
Well, that's our game of the week this week, so we'll have you on the air on Friday night up at LaVille, and I'll be getting in touch. I'll probably be wanting to come and practice again. Practice on my practice my selfie skills as we.
You better get that stick I was talking about, the selfie stick.
Hey, it's funny.
All these young kids have those.
Yeah, what's funny is I think my boss Mitch is actually in the process of finding me one of those. So we'll bring it out this week up at Bremen.
All right, break it in. Yep, break it in with us.
Justin Bogunia, head football coach at Bremen, and we'll take a break. We'll be back. It's a Saturday morning coaches show.
Who doesn't like pizza, right? But have you tried the pizza at Bourbon Street Pizza lately? More fresh ingredients and a new pizza sauce recipe. It's like a slice of heaven each and every time you take a bite. And now there's 16 new style of pizzas for you to choose from on the menu. And let's not forget the mouth-watering wings or their 5 different pasta dishes to choose from. Bourbon Street Pizza with area locations in Plymouth, Culver, Argus, Walkerton, Napanee, and in Bourbon. If you're looking for a quick and delicious dinner for the entire family to enjoy, look no further than a Bourbon Street Pizza location near you.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
And Andy Barker, head coach at Triton, joins us in this segment of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. And once again, a really good win for you guys last night. Really great game for Jayden Overmyer.
Yeah, boys played well all the way around, and you love to see that as this process kind of marches down the road. And yeah, number 3 had a night, right? And I told him all week that we were going to make sure he had a night, and little did I know it was going to turn out that well. But yeah,
believe he has that's a school record, 276 yards rushing. He had 3 touchdowns last night. Just a really good overall night. And he even threw a pass last night. So
yeah, I think the boys there at the end were kind of trying to relive the junior high glory days. He asked me before he went out there that last, because I wasn't going to send him back out, but he wanted to try to get a completion to Isaac Quintana, and didn't work out quite the way they wanted it to, but they weren't going to get any more snaps, at least not that night.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think, the thing about that is it gave you a chance. I have a feeling that may be something that you wanted to work on simply because it may become necessary for Jayden just to take the snap. I mean, if Gage isn't able to go or whatever, I mean, you got to have somebody to take those snaps, and he took a bunch of them last night.
Yeah, 100%. Jayden's going to be, I mean, it's not a secret. He's our backup quarterback if something were to happen to number 10. So, yeah, the plan going in, the behind the scenes plan was let's get to where we're comfortable. And then I want to see what Overmyer can do at quarterback. Heaven forbid something happened, but got to be ready, right?
Talk about your offense. You were able to put up a lot of points last night, and honestly, it all started with the very first play of the game when Jayden takes it to the house on the very first play. Just the way you designed it, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said over the headset too. Not, it's it's one of those like, you plan all week, you work hard, and I told the offense when we were warming up out on the field, doing some stuff on air, I said, I'm going to be very disappointed if I get there Saturday morning and I'm watching film, or I get home tonight and I'm watching film and the offensive line isn't driving their guys 10 yards down the field, because that's what we should be doing. And it's no secret, when you establish the line, then good things happen. And right out of the gate, we go off right and he ends up cutting it back and taking it to the house.
Let's talk a little bit. I mean, it's something that both Joe and I commented on last night. You look on both sides of the ball, especially on offense, a lot more comfortable overall than you did the week before. It looked like you took a step forward. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the plan. We've had several staff meetings where we're having that exact conversation of, okay, a lot of this stuff was new to the boys, and now they're really starting to learn the fundamental of the game, both offensively and defensively, and then how that fundamental sticks inside the scheme. And so, I wanted the boys, and this is what I said, even when I interviewed for the job, like, I want these young men, one, to grow up and be high character young men, but then if they want to go off and become coaches in whatever part of the world they end up in, then they have those tools to do that. And it seemed to me, at least a little bit when I got here, they just didn't know football. And kids aren't like we were when we were growing up. We watched Sports Center and we watched ESPN and we watched football, and you learn from the commentary, right? Well, these guys, this generation doesn't do that. And so it's kind of on us to really help them learn the game.
It's funny you say that, because I have a son who was a running back at Plymouth years ago, and he was pretty shifty. And I said, where did you learn to run the football? And he goes, Madden. So he learned it from a video game. And honestly, he kind of looked like it sometimes when you're in the ball. But you're right. I mean, I bet more of your guys know football from that video game than they do from watching it.
Well, originally that's why it was designed, right? It was designed to teach the kids the game of football. And to a degree, it does okay. My 8th grader, he's the same way. He's all about, college football's back, and he's playing it a lot. But in that, he comes up with some stuff. You're like, yeah, that's accurate. Good for you, buddy.
How do you feel about where you're at now? I mean, you're at a point in the season where I'm sure you feel good. You've got the right guys in the right spots. I mean, how do you feel overall about the way you're going?
Yeah, I mean, time will tell as we march into this next middle of our schedule. But 100%, we're starting to get guys in the right spots. Defensively, we still moved a couple of guys. Just trying to get the best pieces in the best position, and so that the boys can perform to their ability. But now it's more about the grind of getting into the detail piece of it. And so, case in point, last night, we'll get ready to go talk about this here. We were running a counter, and we had Culver had one of their backers walk up into the B gap on the backside. Well, ultimately the guard shouldn't have pulled, right? Because you've got somebody there and the tackle can't get down to him. But that's the intricate stuff that they don't understand yet. But the good part about this team is they legitimately want to learn it. And so they were asking good questions on the sideline last night. It was we're in a good space, I think.
There appears to be a lot of excitement from your guys, and they look like they're having fun.
Yeah, I after the LaVille game, I kind of got on them about their lack of emotion on the sideline because, yeah, that game didn't go the way we wanted it to, but there were still some big plays within that game where we could have been fired up about, and we just weren't for whatever reason. And so, I told them, like, part of this game is being emotional and having fun with it, and you don't get to ride this ride very many times, so just embrace it and love it.
I mean, at this point, there were still a couple of times last night where there was a little bit of confusion. You need to call a timeout, and those were early. Do you feel like those moments are going away too, with not knowing if you have the right personnel on or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some personnel things, earlier in the season. I'll continue to do it because we have so many weapons. We have legitimate personnel groupings, which is crazy for a 1A program. But they've never done anything like that before. They've had their 11, and that's how they march down the field. And
Right.
you call a play in with a guy, and that's how it's done here. But as we progress, we're starting to add some signals into the mix, and so yeah, I think the boys are getting more comfortable. I'm getting more comfortable, and those will start to iron themselves out. I can't even remember. Yeah, you're right. A couple of times I had to call timeouts because the clock was just ticking down. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and those things happen too. I mean, especially early in the season, and once you get those ironed out, then you can get. I'm just still the amount of speed you have with your linemen. They can run. It just that is people I don't think realize what an enormous weapon that is. You have big, strong guys that can run on your offensive and defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, when you start looking at Vinny Prater and Colton Reynolds, those two keep popping up. But, the very first play last night's our kickoff. And I got home and my wife and I was watching it and I'm like, there it is. I mean, my two senior leaders, both captains on kickoff go down and they're the ones that make the opening tackle. Right. And just that, I mean, that's just who those guys are. And so, yeah, I mean, they are an absolute weapon when we start pulling them and wrapping them and send them in different directions. And then, I'm sure you saw it last night. You send them in one direction, and of course, the whole house goes with them, and you come back the other way, and now there's nobody out there.
Right.
So, yep.
You're moving forward here now. You got South Central, and that one is going to be at home. You actually got 2 games in a row here at home, and that's got to feel good to get back to Triton again.
Yeah, it'll be good to come home. This next week is homecoming week, so you always have a little bit of distraction with that, but it's also fun. Again, like I said a little bit earlier, you only get to ride this ride so many times, so embrace it and have fun with it. The boys kind of know it, but we've got alternate jerseys coming in this week for them, so
cool.
a little bit of surprise. So they'll look a little bit different Friday night, and we've got officer first responder appreciation because of 9/11 and then our game being on 9/12. So yeah, a lot of things going on this week. And we're getting into parts of the schedule where I'm gonna have to lean a little bit on Rodney Eunice, our AD, and some of the guys that have been on staff, because admittedly, I'm an NLC guy, so
Yeah.
there's some gaps in my knowledge when it comes to some of these schools, and South Central is certainly one of them. So I'll be probably heavier on the film this week than I have been even in the last 3, simply because I don't have much knowledge of them.
They, over the years, they're cyclical. Like every 1A program, every small school program, some years they've got enough athletes to really be good. Other years it's a little rougher, but looks like they're having a little bit of a rough time of it right now.
Yeah, I know. I understand they're offensively. They seem to be a spread team, and yeah, I mean it's just one of those things like Culver. You feel for them because the ups and downs of a 1A program are very real. And in fact, one of my college roommates' parents came last night to watch the game, and we were talking, and I said, that's culture wise and then program wise, our biggest challenge as a staff is one, build the culture. And then two, are we able to manage the ups and the downs of the program? Because it's going to happen. Like my team, for instance, right? We're senior heavy and they're a super talented senior class. Well, then we're going to lose all of those guys next year. So then it's up to us as a staff to be able to manage the dip. How far are we going to dip? And so it seems like South Central's in one of those dips, and it's tough. You feel for them.
It's a game of numbers at the smaller schools, and I mean I talked about this earlier with Austin. The fact that some years you're glad you got enough guys to put 11 on the field, and other years like this year they're going to be able to play a JV schedule for the first time. And until you've coached or been around a small school, you don't understand how much having a JV team means to that program.
Yes. Oh gosh. Because you want those young men to get snaps.
Exactly.
And on a Friday night, it's super hard. And Austin's got, 13 or 14 freshmen on his roster. If he can keep those guys, here in a couple of years, he'll end up being, in my position.
Yep.
So, it's just a ebb and flow thing, and hopefully we can manage the flow.
Well, man, good luck to you this week. I think we catch back up to you when you play Winnemac a couple of weeks down the road. But good luck to you, and we'll be in touch. We'll talk about this week's game here just a little bit down the road.
All right, very good. Thanks, Rusty.
That is head coach Andy Barker from Triton, and stay there. We'll be right back. Looking for a stable career in an industry that doesn't slow down? Hoosier Racing Tire in Plymouth, Indiana is seeking motivated people who believe in quality and want to work in a safe environment. With thorough training provided for all positions, no experience needed. Second, third, and weekend shift production wages start around $20 an hour with potential at $25 an hour within a year. Quarterly bonuses, paid time off, and health insurance benefits that start on day one. Apply online at HoosierTire.com. That's HoosierTire.com. Hoosier Tire is an equal opportunity employer.
Culver's Portside Marina handles all water and recreational needs. When it comes to pontoons, Godfrey leads the industry in performance and quality, and Portside Marina has them in stock. From Sanpan, Aqua Patio, Sweetwater, and Monaco pontoons, if you're looking for a family boat, Culver's Portside Marina can help. Discover the evolution of the wake boat through luxury models offered from Centurion and Supreme Surf Boats. Yamaha Wave Runners and Kawasaki jet skis are on the showroom floor waiting. Located at 514 West Mill Street in Culver. Stop in or call them at 574-842-5000. Culver's Portside Marina.
And Ron Brown joins us, head coach at John Glenn, in this segment of the Coaches Show. You knew going into last night it was going to be a tough one. Veteran coach with a veteran team, and tough loss last night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never a good thing when you take a long drive somewhere and you don't come out on the side that you want. So that's definitely disappointing.
Talk a little bit about the first half. It looks like it had to have been a back and forth game. I mean, they were able to score in that second quarter, but I mean, you had two defenses going at each other for really the whole first half.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first half was a very competitive, game. We were throwing punches back and forth and answering the bell over and over again, and it just came down to they were able to execute and do fundamentals better than we were this for last Friday night.
They did get some yardage on offense. What would they do? Did they make adjustments at halftime or something that gave you any trouble?
No, I mean, I think, obviously they did do some adjustments. They did some things where they knew what we were reading and they were able to influence us and get a few big plays here and there. But it was just they stayed consistent, and some of their plays eventually broke. And we had some kids that we had put in the game because of some injuries here and there, and they saw that. And a veteran coach took advantage of some of those weaknesses, and that's what happens. And that's why it's so important to have guys ready to go if someone goes down.
Talk about your offense. A little bit off night for them. How do you feel about where they're at?
Watching film, it's obvious to me that we have to go back and remind the kids who we need to block and what our responsibilities are. We ran quite a few plays that should have hit bigger than what they did, but we didn't climb to backers or we didn't seal, a guy inside when we were going to the outside, and that forced our running backs and our quarterback to try to make something out of nothing that when something should have been there. And it comes down to execution. And when you don't execute as well as you should or how you were throughout the week, we get the result that we get where one little thing happens in the, into the third, and then it kind of cascades and you get a more and more and you're not able to answer back. And so then you get the final score. I mean, if we play consistently throughout the whole game, you're probably looking at a 14-7 ball game. That's probably what it is, but that's neither here nor there. We didn't do what we should have done fundamentally.
Do you feel better about either side of the offense, the passing game or the rushing game? I mean, is there one ahead of the other? Or, how do you feel about both aspects of that?
I feel like we need to get better all across the board. We're not where we want to be here going into week 4. We're going to look to see what we need to do to get better. And I feel pretty good about the defense, but even with that, there's things that we need to do to shore up alignment on there. You want to praise the kids for having a goal line stand on the 1 yard line. And that's fantastic. But again, you want to bounce back and say, we practiced certain things all week long, and what happened to what we talked about. So we're just going to work on making sure that what we look at throughout the week, we continue to do those techniques. We continue to read the keys, and the teams that do that for the longest amount of time throughout the games, they're the ones that come out successful.
Talk about the things you saw last night that you liked. What did you think you did really well?
I thought our kids for a large amount of the game, battled throughout the game. We had an Aaron Turnage and Nancy McWiggin go up and get some balls, right at the beginning of the game. That was nice to see. We have a young quarterback that, took a shot early on and, wanted to still compete. So that's always good, when you have guys that want to compete. We had another kid that we put in at running back that normally doesn't get as many touches, and he carried the ball, I think, 19 times and didn't complain. And we asked him to play the whole game on the other side of the ball. And so, he continued to do his responsibility there. So you can always be pleased when you ask kids to take a bigger role and they step up and they take that bigger role and they're not afraid of it and they don't shrink from it. It's disappointing that they don't get the outcome that they want from that extra effort that they just put in.
You're 3 games in, and quite frankly, your opening night maybe was a little bit easier, but you've had 3 really monster games in a row. How do you feel about the way you progressed? Are you where you wanted to be here 3 games in, going into week 4, or what are you looking at?
We're absolutely not where we want to be, and so our coaching staff will look to shore that up and reteach what we need to reteach to the kids and go back over who we get in our rules for blocking and our rules for running our routes and all those little things. We have to line up correctly against different formations. So we are not where we want to be. We have still pretty good expectations for this team, and it basically comes down to the mental mindset that we can get our kids in. We have good looking athletes. We have kids that try hard. We just need to make sure that we have them where they need to be mentally. And, like I tell the kids, you could have a really good record by playing some pretty bad teams non-conference, and we didn't choose to do that. We chose to play, a pretty good program over there near Goshen and Fairfield, and a perennial powerhouse for a 2A football, down in Rensselaer Central. And those kids are confident in what they do. They believe that they're going to win every single time they get on the field. They're going to do the little things right over and over again. And we need to get to that. We need to get to that level. And so that has a lot to do with the mindset and the believability and understanding what it takes to do that. And no team's just going to give you a victory. You got to take it from them.
I'm hearing you say that you think the biggest, most urgent need you have right now is getting the right space mentally rather than fundamentally or physically. I mean, it sounds like it's that mental approach that you want to see get tighter.
Absolutely. I can look at our roster up and down, and we got some, impressive human beings on that roster. And the only thing that it comes down to is, are you going to execute and use your talents that you have in the best way possible? And if that answer is yes, then we're going to be successful, and we're going to turn the tide, and we're going to do what we want to do. But if the answer is no, then you're going to continue to get the same of what you're getting, and no one wants that. So I trust that our kids are going to listen to what we're doing. We're going to correct, the little things, because the adage of the little things are going to kill you. Well, the little things are killing us right now. And so we need to get better at that. And that's what we're going to aim to do.
You start conference play this week, and it looks like you have to go on the road to Jimtown, and that's never a place you want to go and play a football game. It's going to be a tough week.
I mean, definitely, we're going to have to deal with the burning leaves. My offensive coordinator is probably going to go try to get an elephant ear or a snow cone, so that's going to be a distraction, so, those are always things that, you have at Jimtown. And they're again, traditionally strong football program. Their dads, grandpas, every brother's cousins, they all played football there. And so they all expect a certain level of play out of Jimtown football. And those kids, no matter if they're, 5'7", 130 pounds, they're going to play like they're not. And so you got to be ready for that. And you got to be ready for Jimtown football. And you know what they're going to run. There's going to be no surprises, but they're going to ask you the same question over and over again. Can you stop it? And so you got to answer that bell. And so if we execute, it should be a good game. If we don't, then, who knows what's going to happen. But I trust that our kids are going to bounce back, and I trust that we're going to get that right, and we're going to be ready to go up against Jimtown.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking the time here on a Saturday morning, and we'll be in touch this week, talk a little bit more about Jimtown.
All right, thanks so much.
That is Ron Brown, the head football coach at John Glenn, and stay there. We'll be right back. When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank, we don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927. Looking for a stable career in an industry that doesn't slow down? Hoosier Racing Tire in Plymouth, Indiana is seeking motivated people who believe in quality and want to work in a safe environment. With thorough training provided for all positions, no experience needed. Second, third, and weekend shift production wages start around $20 an hour, with potential at $25 an hour within a year. Quarterly bonuses, paid time off, and health insurance benefits that start on day one. Apply online at HoosierTire.com. That's HoosierTire.com. Hoosier Tire is an equal opportunity employer.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
And we're joined in this segment by our winner of this week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week Award, Archer Rust from John Glenn High School. Man, thanks for getting back to me. Thanks for talking to us.
Yep.
Okay, now I've seen you play baseball. I'm pretty sure I've seen you on the. I kept telling Nud he needed to. You're going to be a player, man. I really feel like you're going to be a good baseball player. You play basketball. You're obviously having a great start to football season. I guess my first question is, do you have a favorite? I mean, do you have a favorite sport?
Baseball and football are definitely at the top, but definitely I'm looking at football a lot right now and for the future.
I would imagine. Now, when did you start playing football?
6th grade. Yeah.
Okay, so
it's my first tackle football.
And that's like that. There's like a league in the. It used to be the MCJFL when my kids were playing, but it's different now. And it is the same thing.
Yeah, it's the 6th grade just plays up with the middle school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, what is it that made you want to play football?
I don't know. It's just a different feeling when you walk out on the field and you got so many fans. It's like, it's just completely different from baseball and basketball. Like, yeah, just the feeling.
Now, when did you start out as a quarterback, or is that something that just happened?
Well, I remember the first couple practices they had me at running back, and then they saw me throw and told me to go play quarterback. Yeah, I remember that specifically. My middle school coach, Mr. Blevins. Yep.
I'm sure that's probably when they told you to get on the mound for baseball too, after they saw you throw. Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, do you have a favorite position? Obviously, you got some skills. You could probably play anywhere you wanted.
Yeah, for baseball, I got put at shortstop this year because our starter went down when I was at third. But I love the pitch. Pitching's just it. When you go out on the mound and just dominate another team, it's good.
Yeah, I was a pitching coach for a few years. I know what that, and honestly, that's 90% of it right there. I mean, a guy can have a great arm, but if he doesn't want to be out there, he's not going to be any good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you just like being out there with the ball in your hand? Or I mean, what is it about it that really draws you?
Just like for baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the competition. The competition really sticks out, and going up on the mound versus another player, it's just like, and you get to do it for your team and your community, so it helps out. Like, it's just all motives.
It's kind of that mano-a-mano thing, huh?
Yeah.
So, what do you think you're better at one sport than another? I mean, what do you think is your best sport?
I'd say I'm pretty good at baseball. Probably my best.
I think I'd agree with you there too.
Yeah.
So, talk about your football team. And, you guys are off to a really good start. I know you took one on the chin last week, but, I mean, you were right there at the end, a chance to win the game. Talk about your guys. I mean, you got a lot of guys doing really well in addition to you.
We got good depth. We got good for the offense. We got good wide receivers. Our line's pretty good. Our running backs are pretty good. Like the offense is a solid unit right now. And the defense, our D line's good. Middle linebackers, Blake Wright and Aiden Smig, they're dominant. And then our secondary, Aiden White leading the state right now with 3 picks. I mean, they're all doing great.
Well, and Aiden's a sophomore too, isn't he? Just like you?
Yeah.
So, you guys, a lot of you guys have been playing together for a long time.
Yeah. Me and Aiden have been playing football since the 6th grade, but a lot of the kids on our football team that are in my grade, I've been playing baseball with since I was like 5. So it's a lot of chemistry.
Do you think that makes a difference, playing with the same guys for X number of years?
It definitely does. Just like how you got like the bond, I guess. Like you just know that person.
I gotta feel like you're happy with your guys on that front line too. I mean, you know as well as I do, nothing happens without them.
Yeah. Yeah. They know what they're doing.
Talk about them a little bit. I mean, I'm sure they've got personalities that have to be dealt with. I mean,
yeah.
Talk about your line.
Yeah, Reed Taylor, our left tackle. He's funny. We'll go up to the line and get set, and he'll just start screaming stuff because he thinks it's funny. and our left guard Gage, he's got a dry sense of humor, but he's funny. And then Aiden Smig, our right tackle, and then Wally, our guard. They just lead the whole group of our line. They know what they're doing and know what everybody on that line is supposed to do, so they lead everybody. Then Aaron Bainey, our center, he's a sophomore too. Yeah, me and him hunt a lot together. So,
it sounds like practice must be kind of fun.
Yeah, practice is pretty fun. Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit too, because I mean, you're a 3-sport athlete. There's a lot of time involved that you're giving to all of this. I mean, it's got to be fun for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we go from when football practices start in the summer, I'm doing travel baseball and football at the same time. And then right when football's done, that same week, I go and do basketball, and then it goes right into baseball. And then sometimes after like practices, I'll go and shoot and hit and stuff like that.
So basically, you have about enough time to take an ice bath between practices. Is that what?
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Busy.
Let's talk about your life away from the field, if there is one. I mean, obviously, you're in school. What's your favorite subject? I mean, what do you like to do? What is good about school to you?
Strength class. I get good grades, but other than that, I can't really say school's too fun.
Do you have a favorite subject though? I mean, something you really you like?
Personal finance with Mr. Ritchie.
Oh, there you go. So I mean, I know you're only a sophomore, so I'm not going to hold you to this in 3 years.
Yeah.
But have you started thinking about maybe what you want to do when you get out of school?
Yeah, for sure. I want to go to college for. Yeah, I want to end up being a DNR. So I go to college for criminal injustice for 4 years to get my bachelor's, and hopefully sports help me get the scholarship to do that.
I coached a guy years ago that went for that. I mean, that once again, it's law enforcement, but it's also, I take it you mentioned earlier you like to hunt with one of your buddies. I mean, that's got to be a big part of your life too.
Yeah, I hunt and fish and camp a lot.
So I imagine you're outdoors when you're not on the field.
Yeah, this weekend I'm going camping with like my whole line.
Well, you can't get better than that, man. That's bonding time.
No, you can't. Yeah.
Well, man, I want to thank you for talking to us and thank you for spending some time here with us, and good luck to you as you go along. I'm sure we're going to run into each other a time or two before you're done there. Come baseball season, I'll say hi. I'll put in a good word with your coach. We went to college together.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, if you ever need anything, just come to me. I know where all the bodies are buried, so
Okay.
Tell him I said that. He'll get a kick out of that one.
I will.
That is Archer Rust, our Tony the Boss Ross Player of the Week, and stay there. We'll be right back.
At Marshall County REMC, they are more than just your electric provider. They're your neighbors, your partners, and your connection to a brighter future. Since 1936, they have been powering homes, farms, and businesses with reliable service, innovative energy solutions, and a commitment to our community that never wavers. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about keeping our community strong. Marshall County REMC, powering progress, powering you. Learn more at marshallremc.com.
McDonald's restaurants in Plymouth and Bremen, Indiana are now owned and operated by local residents Bill and Flo Bolt. Bolt Enterprises are proud to own and operate all 4 McDonald's restaurants in Marshall County. Become part of the McDonald's family today with Bolt Enterprises McDonald's.
And as we wind down another Saturday morning coaches show, it's time for us to announce this week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. We give that in honor of longtime Marshall County Max 98.3 broadcaster, friend of mine who died suddenly about a year ago, and it was long before his time. Anybody who knew Tony knows his legacy. It was dedication to the craft, his work ethic, and devotion to the athletes and coaches in the area. It will never be matched, and that's the legacy that we try to honor each week with the award. And we'll tell you who is this week's winner right after a word from our sponsor, Johnson Danielson.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
And this week, our winner of the Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week is Jayden Overmyer from Triton. Performance last night sealed that. He had 276 yards rushing. That is a Triton school record. Also had 3 touchdowns last night and played on the defensive side of the ball almost every snap as well. But Jayden Overmyer is our Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week, and he will receive a certificate with a history of the award. We've got a very fashionable T-shirt that we'll be giving him, commemorating the achievement, and he will be a guest next Saturday on our Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Jayden is eligible also for the Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Year Award. That's going to be later in the spring. That brings with it a plaque and a college scholarship, compliments of Max 98.3 and Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. That's the Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Johnson Danielson Funeral Home in Plymouth. And that's going to do it for another edition of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show here on Max 98.3. And I want to thank all the coaches for coming in and sitting with us, having a little chat about their games. Don't forget Thursday Night Lights kicks off at 7 o'clock. We'll go around the county and talk to all the coaches about their matchups on Friday night. And then Friday's Max 98.3 Game of the Week, we will go to LaVille High School, where it'll be the Lancers against the Bremen Lions on our Game of the Week. 6:30 is the pregame time. Join Joe McKee and myself. All the play-by-play starts at 7 from LaVille. That is LaVille and Bremen on our Max 98.3 Game of the Week. Especially thanks to you for taking time out of your weekend to tune us in, and have a great rest of the weekend. Thanks for listening.